I make him suffer. I really do. I tell Stu, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. But I know if I continue to hold on, then spring the trap and he explodes. And so I thought I would just say 2 words. Hunter Biden.
I am out of my mind. I am out of my mind with the hypocrisy on this Hunter Biden
that's
story.
not very productive. Not very productive.
No.
It's really not. In case you don't know, if you're lucky enough to pay attention to conservative media, then you might be aware that Hunter Biden, who happens to be the son of the president, if you don't listen to conservative radio, you may not even know that. He's the son of the president of the United States. He's been calling his lawyer the N-word in texts. And we had to go across the pond to the Daily Mail to even find that out. They were the first ones to actually report this.
And
and Stu has a problem with it.
Yes, the conversations are completely insane. First of all, I will warn you, if you have your small kids in the car, you may want to take a break. But this is, I would say, one of those...
Why? Is it going to be uncomfortable? Are you saying these are uncomfortable conversations? Couldn't be any more uncomfortable than what Alison Camerata had to do yesterday, could it?
No. Okay, that's a good point. It's not that... We have to do that today. It's not that uncomfortable.
Oh, it's next.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So this is a legitimate conversation between Hunter Biden and his lawyer. It's the strangest conversation I've ever heard in my entire life until of course, obviously, Alison Camerata.
Can I play the lawyer?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And you play Hunter.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. All right. You start.
Okay. Hi, I'm Hunter Biden, and here's my text messages.
Okay.
Where do you find unconditional love, then, George?
God loves us unconditionally. Bo loves you unconditionally. Children are too young to understand what it means, but you will show them. Oh, there are ideals of unconditional love that serve as proxies. I don't have many. You? God?
OMG, N-word.
Wait, what?
That is legitimately his response to that interaction. Think about what this is like. His lawyer is in this deep moment of trying to help Hunter through God only knows what. A moment of introspection. He gives this beautiful thing about unconditional love, and his reply is OMG N-word.
No, but wait. He goes on.
Oh,
he doesn't just leave it at OMG N-word.
He goes, OMG N-word. Did you just cite a fictional character from the imagination of the collective frightened? By the way, that is your the son of the president of the United States, this devout Catholic describing God. That's what. So
right, okay.
That's how his description.
Hang on just a second. Hang on. You have to say it more like him, though, I think. I mean, I think he probably said it. Oh, my, OMG, N-word.
Okay.
Did you just a fictional character from the imagination of the collective writing?
And my dead brothers. Unconditional love is what I should rely on, and my kids aren't children, George. So it's hard to really parse what he's doing there. He's saying, I reject seemingly God, right, is what he's saying. I reject you.
Would it be better if you...
my dead brother's unconditional love, which was, I thought would be a nice moment for someone. No. And then he points out his kids are not children.
Yup, I understand what he was saying there. Okay, so then his lawyer says, my parents' love was conditioned.
My penis,
Warning.
as of late, has been unconditional.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
What is he talking?
I
don't even. First of all, there's the point that, like, he's talking about unconditional love, and he just brings it to his junk out of nowhere with this person who's trying to help him through this crisis. Secondly, if you're saying your junk is unconditional, are you saying that it has a condition under normal circumstances? Like is this a medical
yes.
sort of confession?
Sometimes I think sometimes it should stay in your pants.
Right.
I think all men understand that. All women understand that.
Yes.
Sometimes your junk should stay in the junk drawer.
It should be under the condition of lockdown for Hunter Biden.
You're right. Okay. So his attorney writes, that's why we're searching
For my penis. This is real. We're not making this up. This is really what the text messages say.
And his attorney responds, and we will always be searching. He's just trying to ignore him. And we'll always be searching.
Again, I apologize for the content of these texts. They are not mine. He says, after he says we will always be searching, Hunter replies, it's a big penis, George. They always find it.
And the last one.
I only love you because you're black. Again, these are real.
And I believe he's a white attorney, is he not?
I don't know.
He says, it's so, then the attorney responds, it is so annoying when you interject with frivolity.
Now, again, think of the arc of this conversation. It's all like these nice, warm, I know you're going through a tough time. I want to help you through it from the attorney. And he just keeps replying with the N-word and jokes about his genitals. So after he says it's so annoying you interject with frivolity, he's finally hit that limit, right? The lawyer's like, all right, you're just being an idiot.
Done.
And he replies, true dat, N-word.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just so
That's when
out
the lawyer
of
finally
nowhere.
says, okay, I'm done with my rant.
Yeah, that's how it
Now,
ends.
I think you have to say, are you sure he does drugs? Because I find that shocking. I don't know how anyone might have detected that he was, doing drugs. And I think the family probably had to be equally as stunned when that revelation came out.
Yeah, no, that's stunning. I will say what is not at all stunning is that absolutely no one in the mainstream media has taken the time to bother even commenting on these texts. The industry that single-handedly exists to fire people and cancel people for their naughty words can't muster one story about Hunter Biden and his use of the N-word. These networks and papers
the P word. I think we should go with a P word as well with his attorney. I mean, he's just a pig.
Very weird. Yeah. Very weird, and obviously on drugs. All day, these media organizations exist to tell people who are like down on their luck or living in a trailer somewhere that they have too much white privilege. They're racist and they have white privilege, but they can't. See anything interesting in the single most privileged person in the universe using the N-word on a bunch of texts. Well, nothing to see here whatsoever.
Nothing. And you know what's great is you talk about white privilege. You're telling people who live in trailer parks that they're white privilege, but you also say that they're trash, these trashy people. This guy is the most trashy person I have ever encountered.
Oh, he is just the worst. I mean, it's hard to lower your opinion of Hunter Biden, but this whole escapade may do that.
I don't think it did. It didn't lower it for me at all. Okay, Stu. I know that you have this weird thing about Hunter Biden and his corruption and all of this stuff. But I'm telling you now, I don't think. Let me ask you 3 questions. Would the Times cover this if it happened to a similar person? Like if you did it? Or if Donald Trump's son did it? Do you really think they'd cover that?
I don't think there is an equivalent person on the other side of the aisle on this one. I mean, if the Trump kids are doing crack, they're leaving less of it on the dashboard of their rental cars when they return them. So we don't know if they are. They seem to be impregnating random strippers at a less frequent rate. So I don't know that there is an equivalent person. But if you want to pick, just pick one of the Trump kids. Eric Trump. Right? Like Eric Trump's texts come out and he's using the N-word all over the place. Do you think CNN would find a 30-second segment they might possibly reference it at some point in their coverage?
All right. Let's be fair and balanced.
Okay.
Question number 2. Mm-hmm. Maybe they just are not interested in Hunter Biden under any circumstances because he plays no role in anybody's life.
Really? That's interesting because they just ran a giant profile of Hunter Biden, not to criticize him for anything, but to help him promote his book that came out a few weeks ago. They gave him a wide open space to just address everything that's gone wrong in his life. And they even had time to include color about his very first job when he worked with llamas and otters at the zoo. Which,
this world is so insane. It's so insane. They're writing a story about Hunter Biden and how he worked with otters and llamas. How bizarre is this? Okay. All right. Question number 3. They don't usually have problems with people using the N-word.
Let me
rephrase that as a question. They don't usually. I mean, do they usually have a problem with somebody using the N-word?
I found that they do. And let me give you an example of this, Glenn. They fired Donald McNeil for using the N-word in a response to a question from a teenager about the use of racist language. Now, McNeil's use of this word in his defense.
He was flippantly using it. Yeah.
No.
He
just was a nice, easy answer. He asked, I think it was a pretty rational question. So one of the kids on this trip said, hey, is it okay? My friend used the N-word. Should they get in trouble? And he said, well, how did they use it? Did they use it in like a racist, way going after someone? Or did they use it like in a rap lyric or something? And then he used the word in an example. And that was enough to get him fired multiple years after the incident. By the way, Glenn, this guy, this is their lead COVID reporter. During a pandemic, they fired him over nothing. Not even, this is a guy who worked there for a half century, Glenn. The guy was there for almost 50 years at the Times, and they fired him for using the N-word when there was no reason to do so, but Hunter Biden doesn't even get a quick mention in the paper.
Well, I mean, did he deserve it? I mean, honestly.
Yes.
One more question.
Fine.
Maybe they just don't care about Hunter Biden because he was just joking. I mean, obviously McNeil, there's no excuse for that. But Hunter was jokingly using it as a friendly nickname.
Well, to be consistent here, Glenn, in December of 2020, all the way back, how old were you in December of 2020? The New York Times,
the same age,
ran a front page story about a random cheerleader in Virginia who posted a 3-second video where she was excited about getting her learner's permit to get her car and said, I can drive, N-word, jokingly to her friends. She wasn't targeting any African American in this circumstance. And I should also mention she was a freshman in high school who was absolutely not a public figure in any way. Why was that covered?
They didn't put this
God
on the front
only knows.
page.
They did.
They didn't put it on the front page.
They did put it on the front page. They put it on the front page of the paper. And by the way, she part of this whole story, and they weren't the only one who covered it, but the part of the story is she had to she lost her role on she got kicked off the cheerleading team in college as she was going into college, and had to withdraw from college entirely because of all the harassment and everything else associated with her 3-second video she had made 4 years prior. She said she did not, she was 15, 16 years old. She did not understand, really the word. She said, it's in every song that they play on the radio. And I know that's not an excuse, but I just didn't understand the consequence of it. And she's still getting tortured for this today.
Well, she's old. She was old enough. She was old enough to know better. Hunter is still a child. He's still a child. So what have we learned here? We've learned that, that everyone's equal. Just some animals are more equal than others. I think that's what we learned here. And why would anybody take the mainstream media seriously at all? Why would anyone take any of this wokeness seriously at all? It is nothing but political correctness. And I think we're all starting to understand what political correctness means.
There's only one thing to say to that, Glenn. True dat N-word.
Well, we're still searching for the penis.